got one of the most influential guys in the city, man. Chris King is in the building, man.
What's going
How
on?
you
What's going on,
doing?
man? I'm good. Good. How about yourself?
Blessing, my brother. Blessing early this morning. Hey, man, listen, you have done some wonderful things in the city, man. Like you one of them, what we call they call movers and shakers,
Right.
right? Quietly behind the
Right.
scene,
Absolutely.
making moving the
Yep.
pieces on the board,
Yep.
man. Tell the people about a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, obviously, my name's Chris King. So, been in business for 17 years now. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've made my living in transportation, hospitality, and real estate. So, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, Richmond Heights. Grew up in Richmond Heights. Spent
Mm-hmm.
some time in Moorhead State, where I went to college at, and came back here, man. And I thought, Cleveland is a city for me that just worked out well. Many people
Mm-hmm.
left, but I stayed. So, and in doing so, it worked out.
Yeah, a lot of people do leave the city,
Hmm.
man. I admit I'm one of them guys who left the city when I was 18, came back when I was like 30 something. But
Hmm.
you see the revitalization of the city,
Yep. Yep.
and you like you say you started transportation business.
Yep.
How did you get into that part?
Yeah. So, well, actually, backstory. I started actually in hospitality. So,
Nice.
I opened up my first restaurant, nightclub, whatever you call it, when I was 24.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I spent about 6 years in the industry, and I was like, this just isn't the most stable living. So, especially when you deal within hospitality, it is it's such a tough industry. So it's so volatile. And so I wanted to be in something where, hey, there was a little more stability. And so when I was 30, I opened a company called ODS Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
We started out as non-medical transportation, and then we ended up pivoting shortly before COVID, actually, into school transportation. And then after
Mm-hmm.
that, it kind of just took off. So,
Kind of took off right there, huh?
that's kind of where I've been for the past almost decade now. And that's where I hope to stay. And so I still own a couple restaurants in Cleveland, and
Mm-hmm.
people know that. And I'm always going to keep buying more property, but I make a living in transportation. And so a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have seen me for years and kind of always associated me with just being a nightclub owner or restaurant owner. And that was probably, 20% of my ecosystem.
Hmm. That's dope. We don't see it, have these conversations and bring black men like you on the show, man. It gives the young kids a different look and vision
Hmm.
of what success look like,
Yep,
what
absolutely.
entrepreneurship look like. Because everybody do want to own a restaurant,
Right.
right? Everybody want to own a club,
Right.
right? Everybody want to own a
Man,
record label.
I've done it
Everybody
so
want to be an
long. Yeah.
artist.
Yep.
and and that's what the image is brought to us
Hmm.
when we look at social media,
Hmm.
and things like that. Like, okay, you black, this is all you could do is be an athlete,
Yep.
get into music, or on a club,
Yep.
and you showing a different lane
Yeah.
in
And
transportation.
and so I think it's so important, man, that we look at, especially as young black men, there are a lot of ways to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, I like to deal in contracting. And so
Mm-hmm.
because it guarantees our money, we also know that we have to uphold the other end of the bargain. But to your credit, you're right. People think that owning a restaurant is glamorous or a nightclub is glamorous. Man, I've done it for so long now. It isn't that glamorous to me anymore. And I think
Mm-hmm.
anyone who's been in the industry long enough will tell you there's so many things that go on behind the back scene that you don't know
Mm-hmm.
that make this thing not as glamorous as what it looks like from the outside. But again, it's something that I started to cut my teeth in. So I feel like anything else I went into was almost a little easier, because if you can
Mm-hmm.
survive in that industry
Right, right.
and go through what you've been through, and especially what I've been through in the industry, everything else is a little easier. And so, but yeah, it's glamorous till it's not glamorous.
It's
Put it that way.
glamorous to us. Not, I know. Listen,
Yeah.
it's a crazy scene. Let's talk. Let's go way back, man, to young Chris King,
Hmm.
young guy, growing up in high school, growing up in
Hmm.
Richmond Heights. What did you envision? Did you always have the entrepreneurship in in the books? Like you had a lemonade stand, or you were selling
Yeah.
shirts or things like
So
that.
for me, it's in my DNA, man. It's in my
Mm-hmm.
DNA. My mother's an entrepreneur. My late father was an entrepreneur. So I knew what I was going to do early in life. And so, not saying that I couldn't have went on to do something else. It was just in me. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I never aspired to go work at a Fortune 500 company. I never aspired to go work for anybody for that matter. I always aspired to be, and I hate the term the boss, but I aspired
No,
to
you can
be
say it's the term. I love it.
I inspired to be the person who made the shots, because I
Mm-hmm.
knew that regardless, I can accept failing on my own cognizance, on my own record.
Mm-hmm.
I can't accept failing on yours because
Right.
now I didn't have the opportunity to make the change. And so that was something that, man, my friends would tell you in the fifth grade. I had a friend call me a couple days ago. He said, man, I remember in the fifth grade, you were talking about who you were going to run and what business you were going to open. It has literally been who I am my whole life. And so this is, this isn't for the faint hearted, you know what I mean? So, but for me, it's all I ever wanted to do, and
But don't you think the black community? I think we should put just a little bit more this narrative of owning our being the own ownership of things. Like
yeah.
I know. Me and my me and my wife, we don't have an argument. We always have discussion because it was she says some people just need to work for some
Mm-hmm.
jobs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And everybody doesn't have the heart to be
Mm-hmm.
the own thing. But I think the option of putting out there owning your own things,
Yep.
you know.
And so you need employees, period. Not
Mhm.
everybody is built to be an entrepreneur. I think it is a certain level of gut you got to have to do that. And so some people don't want that stress. I
Mhm.
don't stop working. It is a 24-hour. I
24.
am married 7 days a week to what I do. And so some people love to get off at 5 o'clock and say, hey, man, that's your problem, not mine. For me, I don't know what it feels like to have that kind of luxury per se. But then on the flip side, I would be miserable knowing that someone put a cap on my success. So there's two different people, and some people, and it's all who you are, and
Mhm.
and so there's nothing wrong with being an employee, but just know that I think employees have a greater appreciation for entrepreneurship when they decide to say, "Hey, I'm going to take the journey and try to be an entrepreneur."
Man, it's a
And
journey.
so,
Cause same way I own my own business, DJ company, and that thing just
mhm,
is one of those things. Is that
yep,
every
yep.
day, 24/7, moving and working,
Very much so. And I think, man, you live life with no safety net essentially.
no safety net
And
at all.
so I think that's hard for the person who has had a safety net to kind of reprogram themselves and now live without a safety net. So
Hmm.
that's the difference in it. So for me, a person, and I tell people all the time, my biggest benefit is I don't know what it feels like to have a 9 to 5. So I don't know
It's
what I've
natural
never
for you,
had.
right? Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
natural. And so I have friends who 15 years consistent, great jobs. It would be a little bit unnatural for them to come do what I do. And they look at me like, well, you're crazy. And I look at them as like, man, I couldn't dare do it.
Right.
So you need employees because they keep the world flowing. You are nothing without your employees.
Absolutely.
But by the same token, not everyone wants to carry the stress of being the boss because that stress comes with a lot of lonely nights, a lot of worrying, a ton of nights of
Like
making things
that
happen.
gut feeling, that
Yeah.
hit.
And so that's just kind of what it is when you step into that realm. But I think also I wouldn't trade it for the world because it is truly my DNA. It is truly who I am. So I can't even speak to the other side almost because I don't know that side. But yeah, that's it.
Chris King is in the building. Did you go to school for business? So you
So
know
I
the more.
did, man. So my
Okay,
backstory, went to Morehead State University.
I know exactly. They was
Right
recruiting
down,
me
right,
back in the
right,
day.
right down, and I played football.
Yeah, they were recruiting me for that
Yep,
too,
yep.
way back in the
So
day.
I played football at Morehead State, man.
Mhm.
Right in the Daniel Boone Forest, right
Mhm.
in the mountains in eastern Kentucky. And
Mhm.
so I did go to college for business administration. So I got my
Nice.
degree in management. And I always tell people, going to college and getting a business degree, especially when I came out of college, there was a different method that was being taught than the
Mhm.
method being taught today.
Mhm.
So had I
Tell us the difference.
I think then it was all uh, group think, team think. There was not a lot of, even though I was a business major, there was not a lot of talk about being a business owner. And so I
Mm.
had maybe one class it was small business organization. And so even at that, I would always have a question for my teachers because you got to think I was going home to entrepreneurs. So
Mhm.
what they're applying to you in a book, that's not real life
Right.
because they don't take into account that, hey, what happens when payroll is short? Everything you taught here, you don't figure it out. What happens if there's an injury? What happens if products are backed up? There are so many things that this book can't prepare you for the real trials of being a business owner. And
Mhm.
so I would always have gripes with my teachers because one was saying, well, if you don't own a business, how can you teach about owning a business? Because you don't know the pitfalls of what you go through. And
Exactly.
so That was something that I would say in college that really stuck out to me. But yes, man, I would, like I said, I went to Moorhead State, man. I had a
Mhm.
good time. People wouldn't realize that you find fun in the smallest things when you go to a
Absolutely.
small
I
school
know.
in
I
the
was
middle of the
there. I
nowhere.
was at a
And
small
so
school.
some
Absolutely.
some of my best friends in life, man, are guys that I went to college with, guys that I played ball with. We call each other and we're in a group chat. We talk every day. And still to this day, we laugh at some of the dumb things we did in college.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I went to school with one of the guys that was in Jackass.
Okay, really? Okay.
I really did.
So
One
so
of the
that
guys.
so
It was the early part of Jackass, like
yep.
before they were even blew up. But
Mm-hmm.
dude went to class. He
Yeah.
go to class every day. But we used to see him like, yo, what are you doing? Before
Yep.
it blew up across the nation. So yeah, and then
Yep.
we used to emulate everything they used to do. Oh man, we
Absolutely.
could be doing
Yep.
the
Yep.
same
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
Nah, nah,
Mm-hmm.
nah. That wasn't us.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a dope thing because I always, it's always a big thing nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of sending, especially our young black and brown children, what's the best course of action
Right.
after high school?
Mm-hmm.
Do they go to college? Do they go straight to trade school? Like,
Right.
what is? It's different from when we grew up, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was the track they told us to do.
Yep.
Nope,
Yep.
graduate, go to
Go to
college,
college.
get yourself a degree,
Yep. Get you a
and
good job.
boom.
Yep. Yep.
And I kind of feel like they told us half the dream or
Mm-hmm.
half the information.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
yep. Um, so for me, I think a lot of, and I'm 41. So, a lot of our parents and grandparents, you can't blame them for not knowing the other side of the fence because they grew up in a totally different time than we did, as well as my kids are going to grow up in a totally different time than me.
mm-hmm,
I think now, when you say if you are going to college, it better be for a skill or trade. So if you're not going to be a lawyer, doctor,
yeah,
engineer, accountant, then essentially your degree is just a piece of paper. And I hate to
mm-hmm,
say that, but
mm-hmm,
the truth is the truth because I got buddies that are communication majors that work in business sectors. And I have marketing majors who work in schools and they don't teach marketing. So what was that? What was that degree worth? And so I think what your degree does, it says that, hey, I'm able to one, further my education, go into
mm-hmm.
doing something, stick with something, and achieve it at a higher level than high school. So I think the things that you get out of college are far more vital on the relationship aspect than it is
Mm-hmm.
actually what you've learned in school. Because I would say my relationships that I gained in college were far more valuable than what I've learned. And,
Absolutely.
and so for kids today, and especially African American kids that may come from some kind of backgrounds that doesn't lend them to have the best atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
long term, a trade is my best friend. A trade is your best friend. I have friends who came out of high school at 18 and they went to be electricians, and them guys made far more money than me by the time I was 24. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So a trade is going to make sure that young men can eat no matter what. And we have to
Exactly.
get out of the vein of thinking that these things are talked down upon. Hell no. If you can go and you're an electrician, an HVAC guy, any of those skill trades, you have money right away. And now you can fish on your own. So you don't have to have anyone to supply you a job. You don't have to enter the job market. It's all around you.
It's all
So
around you.
I am for kids going to get a trade. Some kids aren't for college, and that's okay. Some of our greatest people in the world were failures in college. What did that mean?
It's a high percentage of that too
What did that
are
mean?
billionaires.
I wasn't a straight A student in college. There were people that were far more smarter than me. But what does that mean? I was if you compare it to, let's say, standards of life, I have achieved a lot more than them.
Mm-hmm.
So what did that mean? So we have to get into a space where we understand that, everyone is different. Your kid may not be for going to get a trade. He may be a kid that needs to go to school. My kid may be a kid that he ain't doing that great in school. He may need to go get a trade. Usher them into the lane you see them succeeding in, but then after that, then now they're gonna find their way. So that's it.
You're right. I have a buddy who has he has a degree in political science, then a
Hmm.
master degree, I think, political science, and another master. You know what my man does right now? He's a plumber in
I
PA.
have we
And
I
he's
have so
like,
many friends like
man,
that.
they making more money. I to be a plumber. I was like, yo, that told me everything
Hmm.
about. I said, yo,
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about the debt that's accrued when you go to college, and God forbid you do not finish. So now you've walked out of life, you've walked into a university, you've paid X amount of dollars, you have loans in debt, and then now you have to go out here and try to find a average job without having the piece of paper and credentials that you were going to get.
Yeah,
So now where are you? You're hustling backwards.
$60,000 in debt.
Exactly.
Don't got to went 4 years in
And
complete,
didn't complete. And
and
so,
still not doing what you want to do.
and I know a ton of guys like that. I played ball with a lot of guys like that. They came to school just to play football. And when it was all said and done, I said, "Hey guys, I'm gone. I graduated in 3.5. I'm gone, guys." They just went back to where they came from with no paper. And so, what did that do for them? We failed that kid.
We
He would have
did.
been better off going to be a plumber.
Yeah,
You know
we
what I mean?
did, fella kid. And that leads me back to that leads me back to um as we teach our kids the, in the inner city schools. Like when I
Hmm.
talk about CMSD, right?
Absolutely.
When I'm talking about how we're looking at it, how we're trying to push kids to this and not
Hmm.
focusing on the trades.
Yep.
Because we know most of the inner city kids are black and brown,
Absolutely.
right?
And I work with them every day. You got to think. So with ODS, CMSD is one of our vendors. So I work
Mm-hmm.
with these kids that are come from adverse situations every day. I see their struggles. I see their instability at home. I see what is the product of why they're failing. And so sometimes the kid, it's not their fault. You know, they come from an atmosphere and an environment where they wake up and they're at the bottom. They wake up and they're already in the negative. You get what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I understand totally how we have to give them a trade and outlet. And sometimes, if financially education and if financially you can't go to college, this is probably your easiest route. And this is the route that's going to get you from negative to positive the fastest.
And we were growing when we were growing up, especially when I was growing up. CMSD had that
Hmm.
type of places where, especially in the school. I
Hmm.
went to John Marshall High School. I remember we had wood shop,
Yep. Yep.
we had the metal shop, we had design shop, we had all this extra stuff.
Yep.
And then if you want to go to another school that had that trade, they had three or four other schools with
Yep.
those trades in there, and they took them out to school,
That's
brother.
the and so I think and so CMSD they still have a couple of schools that
Couple.
specialize, but
Mm,
by no means to the level that they did, let's say in the 90s
yep.
and 2000s and even in the
Hmm.
80s when it was really prevalent.
Hmm.
And so I think that is a huge issue that we're moving so fast into technology and AI and these things. We have just neglected that sector. And so I think those schools and districts that maybe look to reinstill that with a hint of technology and maybe add AI into it, however you do it, look to now create a kid that can eat for itself more. And
I got
so,
a question. Is you think that about design? Because I know when I think about my daughter who went to suburban school,
hmm.
and they had a tech program to attach to it,
Hmm.
and now she's an engineering
Yep.
major
Yep.
in Akron, right?
Yep.
And everybody in that graduate, they had their own separate graduation along with the big one. Now I'm listen to automotive. This is this.
Hmm.
This is this. This is like all the stuff they were doing. And I
Hmm.
sat back like, man, I remember
Yeah.
CMSD used to do this.
Yeah. And their STEM programs used to
Y-
be, you know,
Yeah. So
modern day
you
used to be
think
pretty.
that's by design? They did it for the black and brown
Um.
kids. They're taking those type of skills trades out to school to make us just
So
workers.
so I don't know if it's by design. I don't want to say it's by design, but I definitely think there was some strategic aligning in doing so.
Mm-hmm.
And but you also have to look at the population in Cleveland. It is decreased. That the population of the schools have decreased, and they're
Thirty-four
closing up.
thousand kids now
Exactly.
from 20 years ago was 75,000. Now it's
Correct.
34,000.
So, as a school system, and you have a budget to adhere to, you have to make some cuts some places. And so, I guess when you have to condense these schools, there are going to be some cuts made. And so, I understand from that aspect, from the business point, you probably have to you just have to do away with some things. Not that it's right, but you just don't have you don't have the students anymore.
Do you think modern education is viable now? Like the way that we grew up learning, has it changed? And
Um.
when we're talking about, going through school, they say you need algebra to trade calculus. You need these
Mhm.
extra things that you find out you get to the world. Like, I don't know if I really needed
Mhm.
that one.
Well, you don't get me to talking about it because I'll be the first to tell you. There are a lot of things that I think I learned
Hmm.
that just didn't apply. And so, yes, you have to read, you have to write, you have to count. I think if you even look at education now, textbooks are almost they're prehistoric. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the way children digest energy and digest education and how they read and digest just anything now is social media. It's on your phone. So I think schools are getting better at kind of putting things in place to say, hey, this kid learns this way. But the bad part is that, all kids have different resources now. And so the scope of resource has widened from poor to wealthy. It is so
Mm-hmm.
different now
Mm-hmm.
versus even in the even in the 2000s, the gap of resourcing and education wasn't as vast. And now it is. It's so large. And so that is going to be the part where you see a breakdown at. But I think you got to get kids involved with education, with technology. You got to have these things of, a lot of kids now learn on iPads. A lot of kids now learn, um, there are a number of apps now that even my son uses that I don't have to go into the classroom.
Yep.
This is going to tell me where you're deficient at. This is going to tell me where your strong points are. This is going to totally analyze your whole breakdown. That we didn't have, but I think it's good now.
Yeah.
But within doing that, you still need a human touch to answer the question. Hey, well, how do you do this? And how you get here? So
Our voices today, right now, we got Chris King in the building. Tell us the business sector now in the city of Cleveland. And if this what I can't say city of
yeah,
Cleveland because you got everywhere. So can I say Northeast Ohio?
yeah, I'll talk Northeast Ohio, man. And so like I said, I stay in my lane, and that's
Mm,
transportation, hospitality, and real estate. I stay in those lanes, so I really dibble out because I feel like um those are just my strong suits.
mm.
But when you talk about Cleveland, and I just had this conversation a couple days ago,
And get into it too. We
um,
we get deep. You know.
we look into, and let's just go into hospitality for
Mm-hmm.
instance. Um, I have been in the industry when it was thriving in, let's say, 2013,
Mm-hmm.
when you can go downtown, you got 7, 8 African American owned clubs,
Mm-hmm.
and I was one of them. And then I've been in the industry today.
LeBron was in the city too, though.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
had
Don't
to-
get me wrong.
yeah, yeah.
That was a huge catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've been in it where even pre-COVID and then after post-COVID, I was still downtown, and then now still in it. And so I've seen the change. So what I told guys, if this is your time, and so people say the city's dead. Well, no, it's dead because we don't have enough creators. It's dead
I
because
say that.
if you are a thinking mind, you are a business owner, you are a person that wants to get into this lane, this is an open canvas. This is the
Mm-hmm.
time to win because guess
Mm-hmm.
what? There's no one else competing against you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you at any time want to be in the industry, want to open a restaurant, want to open something that can bring some mojo and some juice to Cleveland, look at it the other way. It's dead now, but you could also change that. And so, um, for me, when people say it's dead, I look at opportunity. I say, well, no, it's open for me. It's an open canvas. It's like having a piece of white paper and now you draw your lane.
But when they say it's dead, I think what they talk about is dead for the black community
Hmm.
because I see our counterparts
They're having a great
and
time.
and it
They're
is
having a hell of a time.
thriving
They're
all
having
day
a hell of a
long,
time.
everywhere.
That's a whole nother story for another day because I can talk on that one
No,
for a
we can
long
keep talking. We
time,
got
man. For a
time.
long time.
We got
So,
time. Like, no, that's why you're
um,
here for to make those
so
conversations.
I think when we say it's dead for us, we one have to say we got to take accountability for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a
Talk it.
person who's owned a nightclub, who's owned restaurants, sometimes we don't put our best foot forward as a customer and as a owner to sustain a business. So we can't say it's dead for us when we have opportunity, we have places, and this happens, that happens, that happens, that happens. The most hurtful thing, and I think the thing that uh, really, really, really can put a bad seed in a owner's chest is that sometimes my people don't understand that while I'm working for you on one side of the fence, you're working against me on the
Other
other.
side.
So now I am here lobbying for your success. I'm lobbying to have you here. And then I go out the door and you let me down and do something that directly impacts what I just fought for. That's our problem. And
That
so
is.
if we don't get to the point where we start taking some accountability, hey young man, you're out of line. I don't want your crowd. I don't want that here. If we don't start handing some standards on one, what we allow in, how we allow it in, then yeah, it's gonna be dead because ultimately, violence is bad for business. Violence disrupts stakeholders. Violence is bad for everything that you can think of. So if we cultivate violence in an area that's not accustomed to violence, and we have stakeholders who've put millions and millions of dollars into this property, then what do you think should be done?
I
I
agree.
wouldn't want you either.
I agree with you.
So when we go and say it's dead for us, we got to start holding each other accountable and saying, no, 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 it's dead for us because when we have the opportunity to put somewhere in a prime location, we don't hold up the standard of, we don't hold our end of the bargain. So
Exactly.
let's hold up our end of the bargain because we can look at countless situations of countless restaurants. I'm not going to name some under the downtown
Hmm.
prime locations. At some point, we got to be accountable. You know
You
what I mean?
gotta be accountable.
And
Yeah.
we can't blame anybody for what they did, this and that. At the end of the day, we got to start being more
Plus,
accountable.
I think we need to be mature as a community.
We have to.
It's like it's weird to say that, but
Hmm.
I think we need to be mature in the community
We have to.
and learn. I tell a lot of people are like venture outside the city sometime.
You should. Yep.
Like literally, and I'm not talking about Miami and Atlanta. And
Mm-mm.
I was like, no, literally go to other cities, other
Mm-hmm.
places, and see how it operates, see
Mm-hmm.
how it works, see how you know. San Diego is one of the good ones I
Oh,
go to,
San is an amazing
and I
city,
see
man.
this whole
Yeah.
strip back
Mm-hmm.
to back to back to back to back to back
Mm-hmm.
establishments, like literally next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how did this work?
Yep. Yep.
Orlando, like things like that, and you come back, you have a different appreciation. Like, okay, it can work. It
Mm-hmm.
can work here because it's influential black folks here in the city, like me. Like you just want to go places to sit and chill, have a good time with
Absolutely.
us,
Mm-hmm.
with black people. Like I want to sit there.
I'll be honest, man. And I travel a lot, but I rarely, you won't catch me in a club. I'm
No.
41. I have had all my fun. When I say I have no FOMO, I have had the fun of fun.
Hmm.
So I want to go somewhere where one, I can have a good dinner, meet good people. I feel like we have to start one, partying with a purpose, eating with the purpose, networking with the purpose. If there's no reason for me to be in this room and there's no
Oh my goodness, I
connections, the
thought that was
business to be
just me.
made, then why am I here? So ultimately, if we can get enough people that want to be in the same environment and now we start to cultivate some things together, it makes it worth it to go out. But to go out just to
Right.
go out is a waste of my time at this point.
It's a waste of money, and I said people
Yeah,
invite me out there. I'm like, oh, I got
yeah.
to spend money. Is it worth me going down there? What do I get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
I was at an event Wednesday after the Cavs game, and but in there it was a lot of connections
Mm-hmm.
in that place. I say, see, those events I go to because I know in there is conversations being made,
Absolutely.
and it's a networking thing. Other than that, even though I'm a DJ, I'm not popping outside
That's
unless
all.
you're paying me to pop out.
Yep, yep. And so to your point, like I said, we have to just be one. We have to have our business hat on at all times. I think we have had too many years of partying, kicking it, of wasted time
Wasted time.
as a community. So I don't have much to say. My conversation is really short. I don't have a lot of small talk, but I've never been a big small talk person.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm here for a purpose. If you were in my, it's either you're going to help me get along my road or get out my way, and
Man,
it's
I
just
thought
that
that was
simple.
just me sitting
So
out there
uh,
doing that.
well, I mean, what are we really doing? You
I'll
know what I mean?
pop in for like, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
look at my wife. I'm like, I'm ready to go
Mm-hmm.
because I talked to whoever I needed to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
got the conversation done. I'm ready to deuce and then be out.
There you go. And so, um, and back to your point, like I said, when it comes to Cleveland has, like I said, it's an open canvas now, man.
Opus campus.
And if we can get more people to open up places that are for like-minded people, guys, we have to get out of the vein of wanting to open up clubs. And from a club, and I know it sounds so crazy because I did it for 15 years.
Right.
But as a person who I was never the club. It was always a business for me. And people
Mm-hmm.
will tell you that the lifestyle didn't really appease me. The money did. And then at the
Mm-hmm.
point, the money became not worth it. So it just became not worth my time.
Right.
Because you essentially grow out of it. You said, well, I thought you do. But if we can create more places that one are nice restaurants like a Charter House, which I do
And
own,
that's what we're about to get into Charter
which
House
I
right
do
now.
own. So
Yep.
um and it's refreshing to see these people that we want to come out, they here, they just don't have a lot of places to go. You know what I mean? And so if we can create more places of that kind of ilk, then man, we're gonna be well on our way. But there was a time when you can come to Cleveland and my friends would fly in town and we can go to 10, 15 different places. And this
Mm-hmm.
my guys, it's not like that anymore.
No.
You know, it's not like that anymore.
No. And
Yep.
we need more guys like you. creating a charter house
Mm-hmm.
type vibe in different spots, different area. I
Mm-hmm.
always say in Cleveland, and this is my gripe always with the city and the city
Mm-hmm.
council.
Yeah.
That is predominantly black and brown folks that's on that council.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of them on the east side of Cleveland. Why we don't have a pocket just for us black folks? There's a Asian town,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a little Italy, right?
Yep.
Is got pretty. It's a German town somewhere around here. Like it's other, but where is our spot that our strip where us where we can go to and there's a restaurant, coffee shop, uh, uh, a pastry shop,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that where we can literally go and hang out and chill.
I think
That strip.
so I think one, we have to think who's going to lead the charge, who's going to be the curator of that, who's going to take that and say this is going to be my project to do. Let's start somewhere, and then two, I think, and I hate to say this, we just got to let our pride go sometimes.
Mm.
So I think so many times we allow our pride, and especially black men, we have a bravado about us,
Mm-hmm.
and so I want to lead this. I want to be the head of this, and sometimes maybe that's not your lane, maybe that's not your place, because sometimes maybe someone else has the ability, the energy to do the heavy lifting, and they need you to just be a part of that. And so, it always hurts me that we can't do that. I would love to take one of these strips and say, uh, nine of us have different restaurants, and they all have a different little flair. So we're not clamoring over each other. We all have something different. So it could be done in Cleveland, but it's going to take some strategic aligning with a certain amount of guys. And
Mm-hmm.
so um, I don't know if there even is enough guys in Cleveland with the same mentality about a space to do it. But I know I would be open to doing it, but I can't do the heavy. I don't have the time to do the heavy lifting. Yeah,
No, no, no,
yeah.
you don't. You don't. I appreciate you so much for coming up, and this is not the only conversation we'll have. I'll
Mm-hmm.
bring up more because
Mm-hmm.
you have a ton of info
Yes,
to
absolutely.
get to give out, and
Yep.
this is only a snippet. Chris King, everybody. Our voices today. We'll be back. 95.9 FM.